Township Board adopted a stance that actually deferred from the Planning Commission's recommendation, a decision not made lightly or often, advocating for a reduced density development. This decision was made based on community feedback and to work to find an equitable solution for all parties. Good government is not without compromise. Navigating forward. The ensuing legal challenges, including a referendum and a lawsuit by Eastbrook, which most likely would not have occurred until a referendum was filed, have illuminated the balance between individual property rights and community desires. After thorough deliberation, guidance from multiple legal counsels and contemplating our community's best interests, settling emerged as the judicial choice. It is crucial to clarify that our settlement did not preempt the referendum. Regardless of the referendum's result, resolving the lawsuit, which centered on land use, not zoning, was imperative, as we did not want to waste precious taxpayers' dollars fighting a lawsuit that the township would not have won. It is clear to me that this township is looking for strong leadership and to make strong decisions, and most of all, listen. I am here to do that tonight. Unfortunately, I cannot fix the past as much as I wished I could. However, I can change our future. And as of right now, I'm asking our current administration to, number one, have commissions hold off any decision with any future PUD development until, number two, we create a Spring Lake vision force that will create a futuristic look of the whole Spring Lake Township and what it may look like in 2025, 2035, and even 2055. It will hopefully comprise members from every area of the Spring Lake, including those off of West Spring Lake Road. Number three, I will respectfully ask the Planning Commission to open the master plan, incorporate vision force and plan with transparency and input from those that really control our community, the people, and not developers. I plan on asking this immediately to get the future land use map aligned properly with the recent results of the referendum and its immediate wishes. Number four, you have my attention. Our board is listening. It is unfortunate it had to get to this point. I admire our community's involvement and information distribution with input from all, especially in the age of internet, which I don't think people use very wisely. The referendum shares with this board that people want control, slow growth, kept green space, housing reflecting the surroundings, and to the people's liking, not the developers. Signage displaying advanced indicators of change. Now, this is not an admittance to any wrongdoing by our boards and commissions. We followed protocol to the legal authority. There was no collusion, there was no dishonesty, and there was no hiding. I'm tired of that rhetoric. You are challenging my character, and it is unfair. This is simply an admission by me that our boards, commissions, and administration need to listen, be transparent, and share our intentions. Most of all, we need to listen. Now, on to the easy stuff and the good stuff. Thank you everyone tonight for coming, and welcome to our Spring Lake annual meeting of electors. Our annual meeting marks the end of the current fiscal year and the beginning of the next one. I'd like to take a few minutes to reflect on the last year in Spring Lake Township and look forward to the coming years. It was an amazing and exciting year for Spring Lake, and our board made decisions based on our mission to keep our community an amazing place to live, work, learn, and recreate. Our board was able to approve requests for multiple businesses, which will result in more than 100 jobs being added to the community. We approved upgrades to Water Tower Park, which includes all sorts of upgrades, all kinds of upgrades, especially to parking, picnicking, and recreation areas. We are deeply committed to providing recreational opportunities for our residents and to keep our community beautiful by protecting our air, land, and water. Spring Lake Township is blessed with beautiful natural resources, and we're committed to caring for them for the future generations to enjoy. We've also held our first Citizens Academy to introduce residents to township operations and local government, of which I think, Gordon, there was 24 that graduated from that one. 20, yep. And I think we have people that are in attendance, which I think they themselves will say was a tremendous success, and probably will be another success when we hold round 2, which, by the way, was the brainchild of Gordon's, and I don't think that any other communities do that around our area, so kudos to you, Gordon, for putting that together. We hope to do it again and are exploring new ways to engage our community in the ins and outs of local government and discuss our shared vision for our community in the future. 2023 also saw the retirement of longtime township supervisor John Nash, who served our community for 24 years. And yes, he had many friends last year at the annual electors meeting that recognized him for that point, not necessarily for getting a raise. We also made some important updates into the public safety, including the hiring of 3 additional full-time firefighters. The board approved purchasing a couple of new vehicles for our fire department so that they can continue providing high-quality services to residents. This is one of my most favorite things that I like to say. We pay cash. That may sound funny to a lot of people, but in our community, Gordon, through his economic, well, Amy.
Gordon.
It's Amy. Through Amy's, I guess, very conservative booking, allows us to pay $1 million, $1.2 million sometimes for a brand new fire truck, and we don't have to go to a bank and get a loan. And so that is just a huge kudos to our internal group that is really, really good with money. And we're even saving for the next future purchase to pay another fire truck 10 years down the road. So it's really kind of a neat thing. Today we're also celebrating the retirement of Jim Coster for being in the fire department for over 50 years. Jim. I don't know if many of you know this, but Jim's father was also the fire chief in Spring Lake Township for many, many years. Jim, how many years have you been on our township board?
Like 16?
16, 20 years? A long time. You are an absolute legend and contributor to our board. We have also authorized the addition of another full-time sheriff deputy to serve our community, and that goes kudos out to Carolyn. She is one of the most wonderful negotiators with the county that we have. The work that she does behind the scenes will never be replaceable, and yet she takes so much heat, and it's just so unfair for the things that she does for the love of this community and for the job she does for this community. We are proud of our excellent emergency services, helping to keep people safe throughout our community. Spring Lake Township is committed to being a good steward of taxpayer money and resources. We are proud that we have the lowest tax rate of any community in Ottawa County. Gordon has set aside these placards, and I hope that many of you will take the time to be able to take a look at them. They really do illustrate the responsibility of our internal operations, and it really is a great example of what the current township board, because of our internal operations, gets to work with and gets to pass, which is very responsible government, which you may not see in social media all the time. So please take a look at the placards displayed around the room. And that, I'm going to move forward here. One of the other goals, and I had mentioned this already, that we continue to promote transparency and fiscal responsibility so we can maximize the impact of taxpayers' resources. Folks, transparency is just a word that people throw out there. Transparency and being honest and being open and doing whatever it may be. This township board's been transparent for ever. Throwing people under the bus because it's a word. It's an easy word to throw out there. This board has always been transparent. I have always been transparent. I have always been honest. The board's integrity has always been honest. And so you can feel my frustration over the last 6 months. We get it, and we listen. And I will share, if anybody would have been sitting on this board than the current board, they would have had to do the same thing with the direction that we were going. So there has always been transparency. Through our residential survey, we've learned a lot about what our residents want to see from their local government. I want to let our community know that we are actively working on multiple areas of opportunity, including expanding communication. Spring Lake Township values direct, open communication to foster transparency, participation, engagement in local government. That is truly fostered through what Gordon is doing with his community engagement and teaching people on internal operations of local government. The township has enhanced our communications to keep residents informed using multiple channels, including live streaming, board meetings, Facebook pages, regular emails, updates to residents. If you're not receiving them yet, then sign up to our township's website. I'm also holding office hours, and it's interesting, the very people that should be coming to these office hours and seeing me and being able to work and find solutions are the very people that are not coming. I'm finding that the people that are coming to our work sessions or my work sessions are the very people that have been very supportive and understanding and know what this township board has gone through over the last several months. We deeply value community feedback and will continue enhancing our communications. And we will also be very, very fiscal for the years to come, and voices will be heard. Most importantly, I want to thank our fellow board members and the township staff for being dedicated to this community. Every time I go into the township offices, the synergy, the people that are in there working, the atmosphere is always electric, and it's always positive, and it's always crazy wonderful. And it's not just once, it's every single time that I go in there. And so it's a breath of fresh air that when we go into the offices and they're acting that way, and I'm coming in sometimes as Debbie Downer because, man, the beat up that I get to take, in social media and all the other stuff, it's refreshing that they don't get beat up. It's refreshing that they get to do their jobs on a daily basis, and that we're the ones that have to take it. The board has to take it. And so that's what we're here for, but not very nice. So I want to thank our fellow board members and our township staff for being so dedicated to this community. Spring Lake Township is a great place to live, and we appreciate the opportunity to serve. I want to be clear that I am unbelievably privileged to serve as your township supervisor. I'm not a politician. I'm not used to this rhetoric. I've been a football coach, I've been a teacher. I've been somebody that's been very positive in a classroom teaching our community's children. And we have parents that are conducting themselves irrationally, unprofessionally, and disturbingly. And you'd be shamed at your children if they were doing that. I am committed to listening. I'm committed to leading. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll challenge anybody. I'm committed to leading. I'm committed to the stewardship of this journey that we are on, the unwavering integrity of myself and this board, the commitment to the welfare of our township, and we're going to move forward with respect for the past, but now we're going to have a new vision, cooperatively working together with the many people that want to walk hand in hand with our board and not destroy our township. This board is not destroying the township. Social media is destroying this township. I want to thank you. Like I said, it is a privilege, it's an honor. We have one of the greatest boards, and we have one of the greatest internal operations people that you can find. And it's a travesty, again, that we've had to go through what we've had to go. We've learned, we will listen, but it's certainly been a challenging several months. That concludes my state of the address to Spring Lake Township. Okay. We're going to move on to our consideration of board salary resolutions. This is the part that
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that your remarks be included in the minutes of the meeting in full, so that those here that weren't able to hear it or see it online can read it at their convenience. I'd like to make a second motion.
I'd second that.
I have copies here.
I'd like to include it into the minutes of the meeting.
That's fine.
There were some ad lib.
Your corrected remarks as necessary, but that should be
Absolutely.
included.
Thank you, Mike. We'll do that. Okay, this is the part that I'm going to need. Oh, yes, all those in favor of Mike's, I think we have a first and we have a second by Ken, correct? We've got that written down. So all those in favor of moving my state of the address of the township into the minutes, all those in support say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed the same? Good, the motion passes and will carry. Thanks, Mike, I agree with you. Okay, so we're going to move on to the consideration of board salary resolutions. I'm going to share with you, unlike what was stated maybe recently, there have been no movements in any salaries or resolutions with the township board. So these salaries and everything that you see and that I will be reading will be the same from the past year. So I'm going to move forward to the first resolution, and that's going to be the salary of the Spring Lake Township clerk. I'm just going to go in order. It looks like this is the one that I have first, so I'll make sure that I cover them all. Okay, I'm going to read it, and then we're going to need a motion, and then we're going to need a second. This is the first time I've done all these this way, so just bear with me, guys. This is kind of fun for me, actually, too, to be truthful. So, all right. At the regular meeting of the board of the township board of the town, at the regular meeting of the township board of the township of Spring Lake, Ottawa County, Michigan, on the 12th day of February 24, 7 p.m. local time. Those that were present: Terry Radman, Carolyn Borsman, Jim Coster, Catherine Pavick, Ernie Petras, and Andy Scherf. Absent was Monty Norwood. After certain other matters of business were concluded, the township supervisor added the board that the next order of business was the consideration of proposed Spring Lake Township clerk's salary resolution. After discussion, the following resolution was offered by Scherf and supported by Petras. Be it resolved that as of April 1, 2024, the annual salary for the statutory duties of the Spring Lake Township clerk shall be $32,000. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mike. I need a second. I have a second by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Good. Be it resolved that as this day of April 1, 2024, the annual salary for statutory duties of the Spring Lake Township supervisor shall be $25,000. I need a first motion. I have one by Bob and a second by Mike again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. And that resolution carries. Be it resolved that as of April 1, 2024, the annual salary for the statutory duties of the Spring Lake Township treasurer shall be $25,000. All those in, I need a motion. I'm sorry, Mike, motions. We have Carrie Youthy that has seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. And that resolution carries. And I believe this will be the last one. Be it resolved that as April 1, 2024, the annual salary for statutory duties of each Spring Lake Township trustee shall be $6,000. All those in favor? We've got Joanne has made the motion. And Carrie has seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the resolution has carried. Excellent. So we're going to move on to public comment. Questions, comments, and or discussion may not end up happening, but you are certainly welcome to make the comments. We do have a new, trying to install a new process to this, And that is, you will find cards in the back that we ask you to fill out your name, your address, and a title. It does not have to be done immediately. It just means if you've done it at some point in time that you're going to be speaking up here in public, that we would ask that you do that. So, all right, I'm going to let public comment open up at 6:33.
You have cards?
Yep, you could.
Hi, Carrie Uthie, 16192 Old Orchard Drive, Spring Lake. Thank you for this opportunity. I do have to say, Township Supervisor, this was handled way more appropriately and more professionally than last year. Last year's was a circus. It was my first time attending. There were a lot of high-fiving. There was comments being made by certain people in this community at the board. And being my first meeting at that particular electors, I've been coming to these meetings now for 14, 15 months, and I was appalled at that meeting last year and how it was handled. And yes, there were friends, and I would see the friends now. And they were here and they were said, and I heard people in the comment, in the meeting, or in the audience saying how they were there just because they were asked to be there to approve the raises. So what I stated, as you were reflecting, I'm assuming it was myself, the comments online were accurate, were true. They were not made up. It was very disappointing to see, and I'm grateful for this. Also, I'm very happy, and I'm very proud of what I've done. I have done nothing disrespectfully through this entire process. I have only spoke what I believe and what I see as true. And what I'm seeing here, these signs, and the documentation that was presented last meeting, and all the different financial pieces, thank you. Those were never been presented last year at the meetings when I came for the meeting minutes, or for those financial pieces. This, thank you, was never put. Now, what I'm very disappointed is to hear, thank you for asking for his comments to be put into the meeting. I've been asking for 15 months for public comment to be added, just as that piece is. And since you've accepted that, I don't see why you can't accept public comments be put in there. I've never seen anyone, maybe one person during the planning commission who was very inappropriate, and I agree to that. But everybody else here, we have a say. We are the people who elect you into office. We have asked you to put into public comment. It is not that difficult to do. You're asking to now put a card. Why can you not put public comment into the regular meeting minutes for people to see? It makes no sense. You talk about transparency. That is the last piece. You guys are considering the other items I've suggested. And I do feel I've done my job as a citizen in challenging you safely and respectfully of bringing information back to the community as we have asked for. I do know people are afraid to come into these meetings because of afraid to being derated. And it's not fair. And yes, I have been told this, and I come every meeting and I share what I hear. It's not things that I make up. It is things of what people have told us. And this has taken a lot of courage for me to come up here and do this. It's not fair that I hear the things that you've said, because I am not the person I think you're speaking of. And I am not affiliated with that person. So I would like, and I do appreciate what the changes are being made here, because they are going in the positive and the right direction. We do have work still to be done. And I do believe we are right there. But the township board has not been transparent in at least the last 5 to 10 years. If they were, I don't think we'd have the problems we had last year. So thank you for your time, and thank you very much.
Okay, and thank you for those comments. We're going to open it up to the next public comment. Okay.
Hi, my name is Lisa Swatkowski, and deep down, I really don't care what people do with their own property. I really truly don't, unless it affects me or somebody else. Whatever the McGraws wanted to do within reason, that's not my call. But when I first began the process of moving here and buying land, and I've been a long-time resident, first in a condo till we could find the right land, wanted to stay in Spring Lake because it's beautiful. To me, it's perfect. It's close to the right hospitals. I can agree with Jerry. I can agree with, Karen. Yeah, this is a beautiful place. We need to consider each other. We are moving in a positive direction. But my concern is that small community. When I first moved there, we moved out there because my parents retired out there. When they retired out there, there was one stoplight. Years later, there were 3 stoplights. When we decided to move, all the farmers realized they could make more money by subdividing. People who have been there for years with chickens and pigs, it sounds gross, but this was country. And suddenly, the people who had HOAs were telling us what we could do with our animals. David and I said, well, all the old folks have passed away. Let's go home to Michigan. We don't have to tend to them anymore. So it took a lot of consideration. I don't mind progress. What my concern is that where we're at is basically agriculture. Everybody around us is agriculture. And one by one, they've been picked off in another rural residential. And I'm afraid to give my address because, and hopefully Jerry can help with this, and Lucas too. Sorry for using first names. We're out there because we're raising chickens for eggs. We're raising rabbits for meat. And I know it sounds terrible because it's almost Easter and rabbits are so cuddly, but it's a really good source of protein here at the Right Way with other foods. And I was surprised to find out that for one little bunny, and this will concern anybody that has these pets, you have to have 2 acres just for one bunny. I have the 2 acres requisite. What happens when that bunny starts having babies? What happens to my neighbors who have rabbits? I would just like to see that changed for people who are in rural residential, not high density, that maybe they could have more than 1 bunny per acre. Because the amount of people going into human beings, large consuming human beings going into one home, for instance at Key 5 or Halfway Lakes, whatever, is more per acre than 1 little bunny, which I live in the state anyway. That's all I ask is that I'm so afraid that I'm going to have animals and people are going to come around and say, you can't do that, you can't do that. And I want to stay within the Right to Farm Act and the Michigan standards. And it does touch me because my daughter, when she heard of inkling and she lives in my neighborhood, when she has 3 acres. 3 acres out in the country with agriculture across the street, and we had agriculture at the horse farm. All of a sudden she's like, I gotta get rid of my ducks. She got rid of her ducks. She has 4 children. Goodbye, duckies. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments?
On the subject of transparency, and if the information is out there, I'd like to retrieve it, but I haven't been able to find it. We're just talking, showing some things on wages. Do we have, the township or the board have a compensation philosophy or strategy? And I've looked at it, and I've spoken to Gordon about it before. I don't know if we compare wages or we do a job cost analysis or determine, pay margins, but I'm wondering, where do we get our pay structures from? That doesn't have to be answered if I can give you information to get that, because I've looked very hard to try to find that. And I haven't been able to find that. I spoke to Gordon about it. There were some different conversations we had, and my fault for not getting back to him, but that should be, now I know wages do not have to be transparent on that, but at least the philosophy and where you get wages and how you come up with the culture and things like that, to do that would be beneficial to the community. I mean, in my line of work, I did for 30 years doing that. I made a very good living doing that. But structuring equity systems and bonus systems and things like that, and that ought to be available to the public. Because it's frustrating to me to see numbers come out what people's wages are, but I don't understand where they're getting that from. Thank you.
So, as you know, I do have office hours, and I would be more than willing to spend the time with Gordon trying to sort through those types of things. And so, yeah. So again, those are the types of things that this is not the forum to do it in, but certainly the forum to do, those types of things. So I will share this. We're transitioning as a township that there's no non-statutory duty pay. So there used to be, along with some other benefits. And so that's what we're transitioning away from. So that's one of the things that I'll share with you with that. So, anybody else have any other public comments at all? Okay, I'm going to move, Carolyn, that we're going to shut the Public comments down at 6:43. Will work. 6:43. Okay. Carrie, in general, I just want to respond. It's not you, not trying to attack social media as a big picture. So I don't want you to think that it's just you. It's not. It's all of us have to learn from that. Listen, I want to thank you. No one gave me a rule book on how to be a township supervisor. I'm simply doing what comes to my heart and what I do passionately. And this is Jerry Rabideau. This is who I am. I'm the fabric of this community. I love this community. I actually very much enjoy being your supervisor, even through these challenging times. And I promise you, we have the best board that you can possibly ask for. They come from all different ranges, everyone. So we're collectively doing this together. We are a family. Let's continue to be a family. We will sort through the mistakes that we've made in the past. It's just not going to happen in the future. That's what we've learned. Protecting green spaces, protecting community. That's priority number one. So, well, several priorities. But anyway, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the annual meeting of the electors. I need some first and second. So we've got Bob first and Mike second. All those in favor of adjourning the annual meeting of the electors say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Good.